Getting a Tesla can be exciting, but also a little bit overwhelming. So if you just want to know the real basics, like how to charge it, how to drive it, and honestly, how to not get stuck inside it, this video is for you. So let's start with the real basics. Opening the door, you would push in on this part of the handle. This part will pop out. You just grab that and give it a pull. It's meant to be intuitive, to just be able to do it with one hand. Now getting out is as simple as pressing this button right here, which will pop open the door, and you just give it a push. There is also a manual release in case of emergencies. If the button does not work, you can pull up on this little lever here and open the door that way. This is in case of emergencies, and those stories you hear about people who get trapped in their Teslas, this is what they don't know about. So it's important that you know that this is here, but it's only for emergencies. You'll also get a Tesla key card to start your car, which looks like this right here. In newer models, you would place the key card where the phone charger is. In older models, you can place the key card right here on the center console to start your Tesla. The key card can also be used to lock and unlock your Tesla as well by placing it right here on the driver's side, right below this camera. However, almost every Tesla owner sets their phone as their key, so you don't need this key card at all. Once you're close to your car, it will unlock based on proximity, as long as you have your phone on you. And once you're in the car with your phone, your car is on and ready to go. And if you turn on this setting called walk away door lock, what this does is if you have your phone on you and you walk away from your Tesla, it will automatically lock, again, based on proximity, once you're a certain distance away from your car. So now that we're in the car, how do we actually turn it on and drive it? Well, if you're in, the car is already on. And to switch gears from drive to reverse, if you have a model with stalks, you would push down for drive or up for reverse, and then push in the side of the stalk to put it in park. If you have a Tesla without stalks, you would do this on the screen here. You would swipe up for drive, swipe down for reverse, or just tap right here to put the car in park. Now, every first-time Tesla driver, even if you know about this and are ready for it, it'll still catch you off guard, and that is the regenerative braking. When you let off the accelerator, the car slows down much more than you're used to. It decelerates so much that it feels like it's applying the brakes. What it's actually doing is being efficient and sending energy back into the battery. And don't worry, I was curious too, but even if you're not touching the brake pedal, the brake lights will still come on. It doesn't take long to get used to, but once you're used to it, you'll barely ever have to touch the brake pedal. And this is the magic of Tesla's one-pedal driving. It's great. Now, if we're going to drive it, we have to charge it. And to charge it, we have to have this super elaborate at-home charging setup, right? Well, not quite. If you have access to an outlet, any outlet, you can charge. The Tesla mobile connector allows you to charge your Tesla on the same standard outlet that you would charge your iPhone on. Now, it's a slower charge, sure, but if you can charge overnight, you'll get enough range for your daily driving, unless you drive like way more than the average person. And if you do drive a lot, you still don't need a huge charging thing at home. You can always upgrade your outlet to a 220 outlet and get almost like a 10 times faster charge. What I always recommend for new Tesla owners, if you have access to a standard outlet, just try using that for a little bit, and if it's not enough, you can always upgrade to a faster outlet at any time. But you can't really road trip these things, right? Imagine having to stop every 200 miles to charge for a couple hours. That just sounds miserable. Okay, most people know about superchargers, but let's talk about them. Depending on which Tesla you get, you can get about 200 miles of range in about 15 minutes of supercharging. Now on a road trip, when you put in your destination, Tesla will tell you where each supercharger is, and there are a lot. But your car will also automatically add them to your route, tell you how long you have to be there for, and tell you how long it'll take to get to the next one. And that is all automatically planned out for you. But how do we actually use them? Well, the good news is it couldn't really be any easier. You quite literally just pull up, take the cord, and plug in. That's it. There's no credit card swipes, no extra apps, or no extra logins. You just plug in and it works. Unfortunately, Third-party charging networks aren't really this simple, but luckily for you, if you're a Tesla owner, the Tesla Superchargers are simple, they're fast, and most importantly, they're reliable. Now, why would you want to take a Tesla on a road trip, especially over any kind of gas car? Well, it's actually easier, and we should talk about autopilot and full self-driving. Now first, the difference between the two. Autopilot is meant for your highway driving. It comes free on every Tesla. It will keep you in your lane. It'll keep you a safe distance from the car in front of you, and you can set whatever speed you want your car to drive at. For road trips, honestly, this is like all you need. It'll do like 95% of your driving for you when you're on the highway most of the time anyway. But full self-driving, on the other hand, is a paid upgrade, and that will do all of your driving for you. It'll change lanes, it'll make turns, stop at stop signs and stoplights, and go from point A to point B autonomously. You have to go into your settings to enable autopilot or full self-driving, but once you do, to engage it, if you have stalks, you would tap down on the right gear stalk, and if you don't have stalks, you would press the right scroll wheel in. Now, going on these long road trips and supercharging often will damage your battery over time, right? Well, again, contrary to popular belief, it has been shown that supercharging often actually has like minimal to no effect on your battery's life. But to make sure you get the most out of your Tesla battery's longevity, there are a few things that we can do to make sure that happens, and let's talk about that. The most important thing is to set your charge limit to 80% for your daily driving. Now, keeping it a little bit higher has a very small impact on degradation, but no one really needs more than 80% of their full range for daily driving. That's really only for road trips, which is where the superchargers come in. But honestly, just the general rule of thumb advice, you don't want your Tesla sitting at or near full charge or at or near an empty charge for a long period of time. A Tesla between like 30% and 80% battery is a happy Tesla. But again, if you're going on road trips and spend some time above or below that for a little bit, that's totally fine. But how long should you expect these Tesla batteries to last? Well, data has shown you can expect over 80% battery capacity at 200,000 miles. So the answer to that is that your batteries will last a pretty long time. And all new Teslas come with a warranty. Depending on your model, it's something like if your battery drops below 70% capacity at about 120,000 miles. Let's get back in the car. It's getting hot out there. So let's turn on and talk about climate control. Now, they're a little bit different with a Tesla. The best thing I recommend is to set it to automatic and just put the temperature at whatever temperature you want your cabin to be at. For example, if we set it to 70 on a cold day, it'll blow out hot air until your cabin temperature reaches 70 degrees. And on a hot day, if you set it at 70, it'll blow out cold air until your temperature in your cabin is at 70 degrees. You can also move the airflow from the vents on the screen, but what's even cooler is that you can control your cabin temperature from the app, but more on that in a little bit. But speaking of apps, Tesla has a lot, some that you will never use, and you can get some of those out of the way. Now, I don't use things like Tidal or Apple Music. You can touch here to open the streaming app menu and uncheck everything that you don't use. So now when you open your menu, there will be a lot less apps and it just looks a lot less cluttered. And the apps that you use a lot, you can hold them and drag them down to the bottom of the screen for quick access. Apps to the left of the menu are your shortcuts, and apps to the right of the menu are your recently opened apps. And lastly, I'm not going to go through every feature, but one that I say every owner should know about and turn on is Sentry Mode. Sentry Mode is a feature that when your car is out and parked, it will use its cameras to record everything that comes close to it. Someone once backed into my car when it was parked, and luckily Sentry Mode got it on camera, and I was able to get their plate and handle it accordingly. Now it does take up a little bit of battery while you have it on, but if you go into the menu, go to Safety and Sentry Mode settings, you can toggle it to turn off at home or at work. So like if you're in your garage, there's no need to have Sentry Mode on. I would just check Exclude Home so it's off when I'm in my garage. There's a USB stored in your glove box that all of your Sentry Mode clips are saved on, but you can also view them right from your car. Now, a bonus piece of advice for new owners, the Tesla app is amazing. Most of what we just talked about, you can actually do just right from your app. The app can be its own video, honestly. You can control so much from the app. Like, for example, you can control your entire car's climate. And the best part is cooling down your car on a hot summer day before you get into it. That is my favorite Vegas summer hack. But you can also do simple things like lock, unlock your car, roll down your windows, view live cameras when Sentry Mode is on, open your doors, open your trunk, and even view the car's live location. But anyways, I hope this helped you understand the basics of this car and feel a little more confident about it if it's your first time getting into or potentially owning a Tesla. If you want to get crazy and dive into the deeper settings and hidden features about this car, I have videos on that should be popping up hopefully right about now on the screen somewhere. But anyways, thank you for watching, and as always, I will catch you in the next one.